Hi everyone and welcome back to my modeling channel. So today we're gonna start building a 777-300 from Zvezda on scale 144. So for some of you may have already seen the comparison between the Revel and the Zvezda kit. So today we're just gonna do the Zvezda one, and in another video we'll do the other one. So let's open the box and see what we have inside. So initially we're going to do a quick review of the kit. So what we have is more or less the same as the Revel kit. The fuselage is in two parts. What is missing and will come separately is the rudder and the nose cone. So it's a grey kit and we have very fine engravement for the panel lines, so which gonna give us the possibility of doing a little bit of details. So this is for the fuselage, and now we're gonna move towards the wings. So the wings are in three parts. Light engravement, very nicely done, I have to say. And what we have here basically is we have the wingtips who will be in one part, and that's gonna ease our way to do that kit. So we'll have the opportunity to build the wheel well, and there are some other parts for that. Now we're going to move on toward the stabilizer, which are in two parts, and I have to say that it's also a very good work and nothing basically to complain about. Now we're going to move on toward basically the important stuff, more important stuff and all the details. We can see that the flaps fairing are all details, and they are in two parts, each of them. We have the brake units will be attached to the wheel, which is a pretty good thing. The nose cone as well have the outside of the, we have some details on the lines, and they are outside like on the aircraft. We have lots of details. I have to say that the engines are really well detailed. Basically we have the engines, the core, you have the intake, and the fan blades are very well detailed. We're going to be able to put them and to make a lot of details. So I'll be able to paint them, do the leading edge. So I'm quite happy about that. The quality of this kit. The undercarriage as well has a lot of little parts, and we'll be able to do a lot of details, adding maybe a little bit of lead wire, which gonna give us a little bit more realistic features. So that's about it for the kit. Now we're gonna have a look on basically the instruction sheets. Zvezda is very straightforward, not too many things, and normally I quite like it. It's gonna be I believe an easy kit. With a little bit of work we're going to get a very nice result. So all the Zvezda kit come with a stand, which you don't have on the Revel kit. I have to mention that, which I forgot in my former video. And the decal sheet comes for a 777 from the Boeing livery, with Boeing livery, but that's the early Boeing livery, I believe from the 90s. So you will have also all the static ports and small details, so that's going to help you out, but nothing major. So for these kits I decided to work once again with Gaston. He's the owner of Nazca decal, and I really like his decals. They are very easy to work with. It goes into the details, very photorealistic. So this one is an Emirates livery. You could do the standard Emirates. You have the opportunity to do put the Real Madrid sticker, the 1000 777 as well, or the shopping, or the FIFA World Cup in 2006. Well, it's a little bit of actuality. Actually, I'm going to build it for a friend of mine who's flying for Emirates, so I will ask him which livery he wants to have, and then we'll decide on that, and then it will be the surprise for the end. So beautiful decals, very nice kit to work with. So I'm gonna enjoy that. So enough of talking and let's start building. So we're gonna start this build by preparing the fuselage. So originally I will just get the fuselage ready and put some parts inside. I will also prepare the nose wheel well, and after that we're gonna put that basically on the front of the fuselage, and then we're gonna add some modeling paste, and this will allow the aircraft not to sit on the stand, because as this was a request, I started the aircraft the same way as I normally do, and then later on the person I was building the model for asked me to have it on a stand with a gear hub, so which I comply with his request. So after that we're gonna start preparing also the horizontal stabilizer, and for this I'm using, and also the main landing gear wheel well. For that I'm using the standard glue from Revel. So as you can see, this part is composed of 3 parts, and then you can if you want to do it, you can just paint them quickly. After that, when the glue was dry on the front of the fuselage, I did the aft, and this was a little bit more that allowed me basically to avoid a maximum of irregularity on the surface, and not having too many gaps and too much putty later on. Then we're gonna start working on the wings fairing, on the flaps fairing, and so still the same thing, and then after that we'll have to fill all the gaps a little bit later on. Then we're gonna work on the engine. So there is the engine mount, is composed of 2 parts, and then you have basically the combustion chamber, and then we're gonna let them dry. When this is ready, I will now build basically the intake of those engines, and they are in 2 parts as well, but that will allow us later on to do a better job. Then we're gonna start working now on the fan, and for this the fans are in 2 parts as well, and but really well detailed, I have to say. I really enjoy working on those engines, but there is a little bit of preparation, as you can see, on those parts. After that, as the clear part were missing, I lost those clear parts during the transport, so I had to do everything, and I had to fill up all the gaps and rebuild everything. So what I did is I used the windows decals as a template, and used some plastic basically card to try to reproduce that, and then I will glue them later on, but you will see this on the fuselage and on the cockpit. So while the glue is drying and curing on our windows, I'll start to remove all the gaps on the various parts, which is the horizontal stabilizer, the engine core, intake, and flaps fairing. And for this I will fill all the gaps with those Tamiya putty, the grey Tamiya putty, and after that, of course, there will be a little bit of a curing time, and then of course sanding it down. So we will now start painting the engine fans, and for this I use a Tamiya black matte color, and with a little bit of airbrush, and I did all 4 fans, and then we're gonna paint using some enamel metallic color from Umbral, and then I will paint basically all the leading edge on those fan blades, and then we'll be able to cure them. So while this is drying, I'm gonna start removing all the extra putty with some sandpapers, and as you see my former video, it's always really big, time consuming. So now I'm working basically on the tail, and I did all the fuselage and remove also what I had on the windows. as I will cover the windows with some decals. Now we are going to put basically the rudder tail on that model, and of course there will be a little bit of preparation. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting the nose cone or the radome of the weather radar on the aircraft, and then we will have also to fill up some gaps a little bit later on. So once everything will be completed, then of course we'll be able to adjust a little bit better. Now we're going to remove all the extra putty from those engines as well, and the tail and those parts. I am now going to start working on the wings. So initially I will glue the first wing, and to make sure that they are in the correct position, I will use also some clamp to avoid having some gaps during the curing time. And I will wait basically to have both of them, the first wing to be completely cured before removing those clamps, just to have an easier grip, and to avoid having some more issues. Then of course there will be some gaps, so we're gonna fill this up with some Tamiya putty. So now I'm gonna start working and assembling those fan blades, and which is quite easy basically, but just to make sure that they are correctly aligned. And then we're gonna start working on the other part of that engine, which is just located behind the fan. After that, it will be time to start working again on the extra putty I put, and for this, as you know, I had to add some the radome, so I had to put some more putty, and I fill up some more gaps on the second thought. And also there was some irregularity with the tail, as the rudder was just a little bit too high compared to the rest of the tail section, so it required just a little bit of adjustment, and for this I use a regular file. Then of course we're going to remove all the extra putty we have on those wings. Now we're gonna glue the wings to the fuselage, and while this will be curing, I'll have to make sure that I have the proper shape. And then what I did is I saved some of those antennas from former kits, and this one must be coming from a Revell kit, a former Revell kit, and then I was able to reuse that or recycle this on this 777 from Zvezda. So that was an add-on, and I have to say that I was quite happy to have it. But you can also do it yourself with some plastic sprues and a little bit of fiddling with the putty of Tamiya or any other putty, and then basically you will be able to do it. So now I'm gonna close the gear door, as the person I was building the model for requested to have it in flight, so to put it on the stand later on. So I close all the gear doors, and that will be a little bit less work on that model, but nevertheless I kept them for some other, I kept the undercarriage base parts for another model. I have some Minicraft 777 also still on the stash that I will build later on. So now we are going to prepare the rest of the engines. So for this I had to do some airbrush work, and I used that metallic paint from Tamiya, and that was mainly for the core of the engine, and of course the support for the fan. So we now start to paint the corrugator of the aircraft, and for this part what I'm using normally is a light gray color mixed with some metallic paints. I would say maybe 60% of gray and 30% of metallic. So that's what I use for those corrugator. After I will use the paint, I will use the black matte paint as a primer for the stand, then I will paint it later on in a metallic color. Now we are going to assemble basically the fan blade on the engines, and then we are going to start to do a little bit of weathering on the air intake and give you a little bit more reality to the model. And then we're gonna start building up that engine. So for this we're gonna put them inside their covers, and then we'll add the engine mount on the engine itself. Those engines are almost ready. Now we're gonna use that very light gray color, which is a mix of mainly white and light gray, and I'm gonna paint the engine mount and pylon, and I will use the same color as well for the wings and the upper side and lower side of the wings. So for this I will paint both wings, and then later on I will do the leading edge, but that's just a short pass. And now we are using a white color, basically that white matte home color we use on all the airliner, and for this I'm gonna paint now all the fuselage and the tail of that 777. So that requires quite a lot of time, and but the result, with a little bit of patience, you get a pretty decent result. And then of course we have to paint also the engines, but as you can see some parts of the engines were missing, and I'm gonna keep it for the end. Like this I could have a better result. Once the paint has dried, it's time for decaling the aircraft, and for this I use Nazca decal. It's a German brand made by Gaston Roca, and I have to say that I've been working with Gaston for a long time now, and I really like the quality of his decals. They are soft enough, you can work with them very easily, but they're also very robust, so you can do a lot of good work. And he's also doing a lot of colorful liveries, which I normally like on my model. So thank you, Gaston. If you watch the video, thanks to you, and I really enjoy your decal. So then of course now we're gonna add the big Emirates title under, and you can see that I did the opening already. There is a little bit of trimming on the tail as the decal has dried, and there was a little bit of extra section, but that's very easy to remove with a very sharp blade or a scalpel blade. So then we're gonna try to do all the decals on those engines, and now you can see it better that the tail, the cone basically of the engine is missing, so is the engine lips. But we're gonna prepare everything, finish everything, and then we're gonna add those last parts just at the end before putting them on the aircraft. So but I have to say that it's an easy fix, and that's the best way to build those engines, because you can give it a little bit more details. Now we're gonna finish that model, so we're gonna put that the cone basically, or the turbine cone basically of those engines, and we're gonna fit them on the plane. So we also will glue now the the horizontal stabilizer of that 777, and then we're gonna finish those engines. This is the last part basically that I'm gonna mount on the engine itself, and of course now we are using some super glue, and we're gonna put them straight on that engine, on that aircraft, and you can see now the finished result of that 777 from Emirates. So I have to say that I really enjoy that build. Next step will be the Revel 777. I will probably make it also in another Emirates livery, depending on the request I have. And I hope you enjoy that build with me, because I really did so. And please, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, or subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done it yet. And I will see you soon for another build video. Thank you for watching.